From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Amarachi Ubani.
Tonight, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State declares for the presidency. He says he has the capacity to sack the ruling All Progressives Congress, the APC. President Muhammadu Buhari says the unity displayed at the party's national convention puts the party on strong footing to win next year's presidential election. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana accuses the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, of manipulating the courts to issue conflicting orders on the validity of Section 8412 of the Electoral Act 2022. And Ukraine accuses Russia of attempting to split the country, as President Volodymyr Zelensky says the West needs more courage in helping Kyiv resist the Russian invasion. The race to the nation's top job come 2023 is becoming more keen. The latest entrant is Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, who today declared his intention to run for the presidency in 2023. The governor made the declaration in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, after a meeting with PDP stakeholders. Governor Wike says his priority will be to tackle the festering insecurity in the country and engender the rule of law.
This APC, they require people too who will tell us enough is enough. And I'm that person that can tell them enough is enough. We must take this power. Power, they know the dashable. Do you dash power? Power is what? Taking. I'm ready to take it for PDP. And I will take it for PDP. Look, if you're in the election, they know the dash power. Then they take power. All these people who want the election, if they support me, to do what? I've come out. I'm going to take this power from APC back to PDP by the grace of God. God has given us what it is, and that's why God is making APC to make mistake every day. That is how you know God is with you. So I'm begging all of you here, Abamoro, Suswan, Senator, spoke well. Members, chairman, don't go and sell your vote. Don't go and sell your vote. Give me. Because I'm the only one that can have the capacity. APC people, when they hold meeting, they say, look, don't enter Wike's problem. They must enter. And when they have entered, I've captured them. Give me this to do. Let me return power to PDP.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari says the unity displayed at the party's national convention puts the party on strong footing to win next year's presidential election. The president made the comment after the swearing-in of the party's new National Executive Committee. The new National Executive is led by Senator Abdullahi Adamu, who emerged as National Chairman, while Senator Yola Omishori was affirmed as the National Secretary. Our correspondent Gloria Omezuke reports.
The arrival of President Muhammadu Buhari.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrives the Eagle Square, venue of the All Progressives Congress National Convention, 5 hours after the originally scheduled time. Underground horse trading, negotiations and assurances from different camps had delayed the commencement of the convention as the party approved the amended section of the APC's constitution and ratified the activities of the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee. In their various speeches, the leadership beamed with confidence as they assure members that the party is going through a process and nobody will be left behind.
The Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, which I am opportune to chair, is a child of circumstance constituted by the National Executive Committee to restructure and reposition the party.
As a party and as an administration, we can compare so favorably well with any other party across this world. Mr. President, you will remain the leading light, the moral compass of APC even after your tenure.
We must focus on the objective of taking 100 million people out of poverty in this decade. We will continue undaunted in the task of building infrastructure that will be the foundation of the great modern economy of our dreams.
Feeling fulfilled, the president calls on members of the party to remain united and support the incoming leadership of the party.
This has proved that we are indeed Nigeria's leading and largest political party. It also exhibits our numerical strength and potential to win elections at all given times fairly and squarely. Let me seize this opportunity to remind you of the importance of voter registration and education among our members. This is very necessary for us to justify our large numerical strength during elections.
Over 7,584 delegates from the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT attended the convention, and they are expected to fill up 21 seats of the National Working Committee and 51 non-NWC seats. The horse trading pays off as most of the contestants step down for the preferred candidates.
I have completely accepted what has been done in the name of consensus.
However, some did not easily agree with the consensus exercise.
I will not withdraw my aspiration.
In all, 6 seats were voted for during the voting exercise, which the president started before taking his recess for the night. The voting continued into the night as the delegates voted according to their states. By dawn, the final results emerged and all the 78 seats were filled. By morning, the president returns to the Eagle Square to observe the swearing-in of the officers, which was conducted by the head of legal services of the party.
I will not allow my personal interest.
In his acceptance speech, the newly affirmed national chairman vows that the party will do more if elected in 2023.
As politicians, we are not strangers to gains, losses, and disappointments with the outcome of every political contest. Let us show maturity and good sportsmanship and accept the outcome of this convention with grace. APC is set to do much more when Nigerians continue to bestow on us their love, their support, and confidence in the next general election.
The committee admits that one of the main tasks awaiting them is how to plan and oversee the party's primaries ahead of the 2023 general elections. Although another pending issue is to reconcile aggrieved persons from the fallout of the convention. From the Eagle Square, Abuja, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Now, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has criticized the emergence of Senator Abdullahi Adamu as national chairman of the All Progressives Congress at its just concluded national convention. In a press statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olonagba, the PDP derides the APC for what it calls the imposition of a man who was arraigned in court on charges of alleged fraudulent award of contracts and stealing of public funds, estimated at 15 billion naira, as its national chairman. The main opposition party also described the outcome of the APC convention as a jamboree of lies and celebration of illegality and corruption, adding that any leadership birthed through such process can only be overtly corrupt and illegal. The statement reads in part, "The composition of the APC national leadership is a clear confirmation that President Buhari has never been committed to the fight against corruption, as well as his willingness to further open our national vaults to ravenous treasury looters of the APC. The PDP alleges or challenges members of the APC national leadership, particularly Senator Adamu, to come clean on corruption charges against them. The Sultan of Sokoto, His Royal Highness Saad Abubakar III, has ascribed or decried the cost of living in the country and wants government to adopt better strategies of ameliorating the sufferings of Nigerians. The Sultan is concerned about the polity ahead of 2023 elections and has asked politicians to observe the rules and not take the hard line. He was speaking at an event in Bauchi State.
The 36th edition of the Quranic recitation competition brings the Sultan of Sokoto and other Muslim faithful across the 36 states and the FCT to Bauchi State. It's been 9 days of the contest and it has come to a close. The Sultan extols the initiative and calls for prayers for peace in the country. He, however, wants government to look into the challenges of rising cost of living in the country.
We'd like to call on governments at all levels, state and federal, to bring out methods, ways and means of reducing the cost of living in this country. The cost is high, cost of foodstuff is high and it's going up and up. So government should do and must do something to have this very serious challenge tackled.
He also has a word for politicians ahead of 2023.
And this is here for elections or preparation for elections 2022 today. Next 2023, the politicians will be up in their normal game. Please play politics with the fear of Almighty Allah, knowing that He is the only one who gives power to whom He wants, at the time He wants, and He'll take it away from you when He wants, at the time He wants, without asking you.
Governor Bala Muhammad appreciates the concern of the Sultan. He therefore asks leaders and followers to be mindful of their actions.
On our part, as leaders, we must lead with the fear of Allah and by example. The Sultan has said it. As politicians, we should not overstretch our discretion. We should not be excessive. We should not be greedy. We should not be selfish. We should know that there is a day for accountability, the day of judgment. We should not only fear EFCC and ICPC, we should fear Allah.
The winners of the competition, Babogoni from Borno State in the male category and Howlet Ishaq from Zamfara State in the female category, get 3 million naira prize each, while the governor awards them free scholarships up to the tertiary institution, in addition to donating 25 million naira to participants and judges. Hajera Aliyu, Channels Television News.
In other electoral matters, human rights activist Femi Falana is accusing the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, of manipulating the Federal High Court to issue inflicting orders on the validity of Section 8412 of the Electoral Act 2022. The People's Democratic Party had sought to stop President Muhammadu Buhari, the AGF, the leadership of the National Assembly and the Independent National Electoral Commission from tampering with the section or any section of the Act on any ground whatsoever. According to the senior lawyer, the Attorney General of the Federation did not draw the attention of both Ibadan and Umuahia judicial divisions of the Federal High Court to the fact that the Abuja Judicial Division of the same court had on March 7, 2022, restrained the mentioned parties from tampering with the section. Mr. Falana also says the Attorney General did not disclose to the Umuahia Judicial Division of the Federal High Court that Ibadan Judicial Division had struck out a similar case for want of local standard. In the meantime, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has asked the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to publish details of safeguards and mechanisms put in place to protect the privacy and security of election information and data in its custody. The rights group is seeking clarity on whether or not any third parties involved in the collection, control, and use of election information and data, the legal rules and processes guiding the choice of any such third party. SERAP also notes that the measure would help to remove risks of attack and unlawful interference by any unauthorized person with election information and data. In part two, after the break, General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, continues to drive his vision of establishing schools to raise well-rounded children as the church marks 20 of the education arm of the ministry. That's the moment. Do join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State declares for the presidency. He says he has the capacity to sack the ruling All Progressives Congress, the APC. President Muhammadu Buhari says the unity displayed at the party's national convention puts the party on strong footing to win next year's presidential election. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana accuses the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, of manipulating the courts to issue conflicting orders on the validity of Section 8412 of the Electoral Act 2022. And Ukraine accuses Russia of attempting to split the country as President Volodymyr Zelensky says the West needs more courage in helping Kyiv resist the Russian invasion. Away from political stories, the vision of Pastor Enoch Adeboye to establish schools that will raise well-rounded children is thriving, and he has succeeded in remote areas of northern Nigeria, where students are coming out with outstanding results in mathematics and science. Chairperson of the Christ Redeemer School Movement and wife of the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Mrs. Folu Adeboye, disclosed this at the 20th Redeemer's Day celebration held to mark the establishment of the education arm of the ministry. Our correspondent, Bukola Samuel Wemimo, tells us more.
Students, pupils and teachers from schools across Nigeria established under the Christ the Redeemer School Movement, CRSM, have converged here at the Redeemer's High School to commemorate the 20th Founders' Day anniversary, also tagged Redeemer's Day. This year's anniversary is a special one as it coincides with the 80th birthday celebration of the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, who recently joined the Octogenarians Club. Although the vision to establish schools devoid of social ills was conceived by the revered clergyman 20 years ago, his wife and chairperson of the CRSM says it was a vision she bought into right from the beginning.
For 12 years, we had only one crèche and reception and 2 primary schools. And after that one, the Lord led it in my heart to call some people together. And that is why we have what we call the Christ Redeemer School Movement members today. If you are around, shout hallelujah.
Under her leadership, the CRSM has grown to a body overseeing more than 300 schools across Nigeria, and she is proud to report remarkable progress from the schools in hard-to-reach areas.
Our students had the best results in mathematics and English and science in Koma Hill.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
The anniversary now progresses to the annual exhibition center, where artists and students from the CRSM family have put together old pictures and artworks to honor their patriarch, fondly called Daddy Gio.
We are so proud of you.
There were goodwill messages from friends of the ministry, including the Vice Chairman of Channels Television, Mrs. Shola Momo, and the MD of the EMSA Pharmaceuticals, Mrs. Stella Okoli.
Daddy, what can we say? You are not just an inspiration. You are a light. You are an embodiment of wisdom. You are the example of a Christian.
The children have been wonderful from all over Nigeria. We also go to IDP camp in Maiduguri to give them some medicine, and it's awesome what, the Lord is doing there.
Celebrations continue with a match past performed by students and teachers from the CRSM family, and the joy in the atmosphere is palpable.
Can imagine how beautiful it is.
The day ends with the patriarch, fondly called Daddy Gio, pronouncing blessings upon his children.
And I'm committing every one of these your children, from the youngest to the oldest, into your hands. Let it be well with them. Don't let them die young. Let them become very great.
Christ the Redeemer's ministry started with a creche 2 decades ago. The vision has expanded into an education ministry with over 300 schools spread across Nigeria. Indeed, this is a testament to the possibilities inherent in a dream. Bukola Samuel Wemimo for Channels Television News.
A huge congratulations to the ministry. Now, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has intercepted 2 drug traffickers, Elvis Iro and Uwaezoke Christian, who excreted 165 wraps of cocaine following their arrest at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, by operatives for ingesting the illicit drug. They excreted the drugs while under observation in agency's custody. Mr. Elvis, who is a father of 4, was arrested upon his arrival on board an Ethiopian airline flight from Addis Ababa for ingesting 65 pellets of cocaine weighing 1.376 kilograms. Another passenger of the same flight, 42-year-old Uwaezoke Christian, who claims to be a businessman, was also arrested on arrival for ingesting 100 pellets of cocaine with a total weight of 2.243 kilograms. In other developments, narcotic officers of the Directorate of Operation and General Investigation have intercepted substantial quantities of methamphetamine, cocaine, cannabis, sativa, packed for export to Australia, China, Qatar, Ireland and Thailand through some courier companies in Lagos. Staying with crime, officers of the River State Police Command have arrested 4 suspects involved in the kidnapping and murder of a driver in Emoha local government area along the Bayelsa axis of the East-West Road in River State. In a statement by the police spokesperson, Grace Iringa Koko, she says the suspects pretended to be regular passengers to board the victim's vehicle. But when they got to a quiet part of the rural community, they kidnapped the driver, who's identified as Onyekachi Obioma Chukwagu, and abandoned his vehicle by the roadside. On receipt of the complaints, the force mobilized operatives to the scene and commenced an intensive search, resulting in the arrest of one of the suspects, who led operatives to the rest of the gang and the location of the victim's corpse. The statement notes that the suspects claimed that the victim was murdered using a machete for refusing to cooperate with them. In other news now, the Northeast Development Commission, NEDC, says it is developing a regional stabilization and development master plan for the region that has been affected by insurgency. According to the Managing Director of the Commission, Mohammed Goni, the plan will identify the basic needs of the region and spell out strategies, policies and immediate interventions for the recovery, stabilization and renewal for the sustainable development of the region over the next 10 years.
Rebuilding the Northeast is the focus of the Northeast Development Commission, as the agency meets with stakeholders to reconstruct bridges, houses and power supply facilities vandalized by insurgents, which has left communities in darkness. The Managing Director of the NEDC, represented by the Technical Special Assistant, explains the significance of the meeting, just as the lead consultant presents an overview of the master plan, but laments that the NEDC has been seriously affected by insurgency, which impacted negatively on the education, health and general well-being of the people.
The NEDC Establishment Act also designates the Commission as the focal point to coordinate and harmonize all other intervention programs and initiatives that member states, federal government and all stakeholders will execute for the stabilization and development of the region.
From our studies, we know exactly where all the terrorist attacks have actually taken place, which we call the hotspots. But these hotspots, although they are mainly within Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe, there are other parts of the region that are indirectly affected by the fact that these hotspots have resulted in internally displaced persons.
A representative of communities affected by insurgency applauds the efforts of the NEDC, but appeals for more assistance.
As the name sounds, it's a rapid response intervention too. In that regard, we call on the NEDC to impress on the contractors to resume site, especially in the area of housing that has been flagged off.
On his part, Governor Umaru Fintiri, represented by the State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, observes that the Northeast has suffered serious devastation from insurgency in the region and commends President Buhari for establishing the NEDC.
As the government in Adamawa State, we support 100% the activities of NEDC. And we believe that with this master plan, the chances of having a coordinated approach to the interventions in the region will be a fruition, will come into fruition.
Although these interactions will culminate in a draft plan that will be presented for validation, the essence of the stakeholders' meeting is to harness individual and collective input to enrich the process, which allows for NEDC policy of inclusiveness and bottom-up approach.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo felicitates with mothers, urging them to use the occasion of Mother's Day to reflect on what he calls their foundational duties. Do join us again. Welcome back. It's another Mother's Day, and mothers all over the world are celebrating Mothering Sunday. Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo is asking mothers to use the occasion to reflect on what he calls their foundational duties. The governor made the call during the Sunday Mass at the Governor's Lodge Chapel, Amobia, where he was joined by his wife, Nonye Soludo, the Speaker, Anambra State House of Assembly, Mr. Uchenna Okafor, and other dignitaries to celebrate the solemn service.
Anambra State Governor Professor Charles Soludo and his wife Nonye, as well as the Speaker of the House of Assembly Uchenna Okafor, joined others to celebrate a Mass at the Governor's Lodge Chapel.
Second letter, chapter 3, verse 17.
The chaplain's homily encourages the congregation to look up to Jesus Christ for transformation and strive to reconcile with Christ in the journey of faith.
Whenever we have the confidence and with humility look unto Jesus Christ, he promises to transform us from one glory to another glory. If you believe, shout a bigger amen. Amen. In the second reading, we are being encouraged to reconcile with God, to reconcile with Christ. It is very important in our journey, in our faith, that you look inwards and get reconciled with God.
The Mass coincides with this year's Mother's Day celebration. Governor Soludo felicitates with mothers, tasking them on the foundational duty of proper upbringing of their children.
This is our society, the way it is, Anambra State and the nation. To chaos everywhere. It all starts from the family. It's really a call for the modern Sundays. I think it should be a moment for all of us, and particularly our mothers, to reflect back on the what I call the foundational duty, and the foundational duty of raising the family. Because the family is the unit and foundation of society. Without it, nothing else happens.
The governor also used the occasion to condemn the sit-at-home order that has continued to impoverish the people and calls on everyone in the state to rise and be productive.
As part of measures towards boosting food security, the federal government has unveiled the second maize pyramid in Kaduna State under the Central Bank of Nigeria and Maize Association of Nigeria Anchor Borrowers Program. Speaking at the event, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, says the Anchor Borrowers Program has achieved its desired objective, which is curtailing food imports and making Nigeria self-sufficient in maize production.
The need to bridge the gap between the demand and supply of maize is what necessitated the launch of the Anchor Borrowers Program by the Central Bank in 2015, aimed at creating a linkage between anchor companies and smallholder farmers. Over 150,000 farmers have so far benefited from the program, and consequently, maize production in the country has since increased from 10.5 million metric tons in 2015 to 12.2 million metric tons in 2021, with an annual consumption estimated at 12.38 million metric tons. The launch of 21 maize pyramids in Kaduna State by the Maize Association of Nigeria is the second after the first was unveiled in Katsina State in 2021 and is aimed at celebrating the 2021 wet season farming under the Anchor Borrowers Program.
We all remember the COVID-19 pandemic of 2019 and the security challenges caused by enemies of the nation, which has also affected the volume. This was a very big challenge for food production. Despite these challenges, and bearing in mind that money given for this farming is a loan, to resilient Nigerian maize farmers were able to produce what is being unveiled today.
The relentless efforts and support of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari to diversify the economy through agricultural sector, which contributes almost 30% of the gross domestic product, is being manifested here today.
Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, who is represented by the Director of Development Finance, Yusuf Gila, is impressed with the results of the program. He says more is being done by the CBN.
The Central Bank of Nigeria is committed to financing over 600,000 hectares. Our strategy is also hinged on improving productivity by providing this funding through the financial institutions to the various anchors and the commodity associations to enable them utilize high-quality inputs and good agronomic practices to boost output so that we not only meet national demand, we'll begin to look at the export potential, which will earn us foreign exchange.
The Anchor Borrowers Program also receives legislative and royal commendation by the Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Agriculture, and the Emir of Zazzau, Nuhu Bamali.
So I'm so delighted, when this program came into being, seeing Nigerians, producing food for themselves, not being imported from foreign countries, both rice and also maize now, which is remarkable.
I believe with the support and the backing of the CBN and the enabling environment to ensure that there is banning of all foods that we depend on importing from other countries of the country, we save foreign reserve, we save all the opportunities that is slipping away from our hand as a country with a teeming population of more than 200 million.
One of the advantages of the Anchor Borrowers Program is providing the offtakes for farmers to sell their products at reasonable controlled prices, thereby reducing the unwholesome activities of middlemen.
Over 48,000 households in Nasarawa State from 6 local government areas are benefiting from conditional cash transfer, an arm of the Social Safety Program of the federal government. With 10,000 bi-monthly cash receipts, several of them have been impacted individually in different chosen ventures, with ripple effects experienced in some communities. Women in Wamba and Akwanga local government areas have tackled water challenges bedeviling their communities, while some others are engaging in group businesses. Our correspondent Halima Gayom has more.
Bata community in Wamba local government now has pipe-borne water after many years, courtesy of the conditional cash transfer program of the federal government. Women in the community repaired this abandoned borehole, channeling water across their points of needs through monthly contributions from the 10,000 naira bi-monthly stipends.
Every payment we used to contribute small money out of the one where they give us. We eat well, but we used to contribute for us to help ourselves. That's how we used to get this water from this tank. The water now, it go round. All this village now we have water.
The presence of the amenity aided the construction of this primary healthcare center, classroom blocks, lavatories for pupils who before now defecate openly. Same story with Gwanje Sarki in Akwanga, a borehole dug and 4 water tanks acquired from accumulated stipends by benefiting women. Not just communal impacts, women in Dari, Kokona local government have improved their livelihoods, reviving traditional black soap making business. It is now a group activity funded by monthly contributions, which they say has scaled up production rate to 40 bags in a week. This is a typical day for women of Gidigidi community in Lafia, cassava processing 6 days of the week. From their group savings, they acquired this land, and a mini cassava production and a processing outfit is established with bags of cassava flour transported interstates weekly. Favor is reviving her tradition through knitting of her cultural attire. After using her stipend to expand her business scope, she now has tens of apprentices. While they engage in petty businesses individually, their group progress is remarkable. Savings, group mobilization, life skills and micro-business development make up trainings to sustain the program. In the course, 943 groups were created and 49 registered as cooperatives, but not an appreciable number imbibed the knowledge and took it further like these groups. With the slogan, "Better don't come," which means a good thing has come, it appears a good thing has not only come to these households and their communities, but would remain with them even after the program. Impact of the program domesticated in 2017 birthed a replication.
From the success stories, that was what gave birth to the Nasarawa State conditional cash transfer. That was what made His Excellency Engineer Abdullah Isri decided to domicile the program in Nasarawa because he saw the direct impact in his people. And he was really excited, and it was encouraging.
The program is implemented in 37 wards of the 6 local government areas in the state, while the remaining wards await their turn. Halima Gayam, Channels Television News.
And in Kogi State, the government has commended the management of Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPEDEC, for its transparency and accountability in meeting the yearnings of the communities ravaged by perennial flooding in the state. The State Deputy Governor, Edward Onoja, gave the commendation in Lokoja, the state capital, during the flag-off ceremony of a youth transformation training program organized by HYPEDEC.
Traditional rulers, officials from government and non-governmental organizations, as well as youths from the 10 riverine local government areas, have converged on the Government House, Lokoja in Kogi State. They are here to witness the flag-off of a program put together by the Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission to train 600 youths from the 9 local government areas in Kogi State prone to flooding. The program is aimed at reducing the number of unemployed youths and addressing youth restiveness by training young people in various trades.
We give you what you want, not what we want. That is why we've asked the youth, take the form, complete the form, tell us what you want to do. And the youths, this may be a life-changing event. So if I am you, I will run to it with all my blood and life.
The managing director of Hyperdeck congratulates the beneficiaries and assures them that the commission will ensure they are certified after the training to enable them use the certificates to assess loan facilities to grow their businesses.
To ensure that the training you receive is one that can be certificated, it's one that whatever you are able to do, you are licensed to do. It's one that will enable you get funding from banks and other financial institutions.
While flagging off the program, the Kogi State Deputy Governor notes that it is a failure of leadership not to have a succession plan for young people in any nation.
On this youth transformation program, I want the beneficiaries to be excited. The knowledge, the skills that you are going to get is your property for life. Whatever training that they would give you whilst in the various centers designated becomes your property for life.
As the youth selected begin the training program, they are expectant that the state government will match their words with actions by giving them the necessary tools to start up successful business ventures at the conclusion of the program.
Meanwhile, the federal government is satisfied with the progress of work on the ongoing rehabilitation of 36-kilometer Gasamu-Amshi-Gogoram Road, the ancient headquarters of Bade Emirates in Yobe State. A project which is made up of 3 bridges with 36-month completion period was inspected by the managing director of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, Engineer Nuruddin Abdurrahman, alongside principal officers of the agency.
This is the 36-kilometer Gashamo-Amshi-Gogoram Road, leading to one of the ancient tourist centers, popularly known as Maui Ganga Fishing Festival, and the former Emirate headquarters of Bade in Yobe State. While the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency field engineer, Abba Baba, gives a brief on the project, the contracting firm says transportation of raw materials from a distance of about 100 kilometers and the high cost of diesel is delaying the work.
The work starts from Gasomo, it passes through Amshi to Gogoram in Yobe State. The team of engineers you see beside me here, they are the engineers we allocated to various aspects of the works, ranging from concrete, laterite, roadworks, laboratories. They are people that we assigned to various aspects of this project, and they were all doing their assignment diligently.
The only challenge here we are facing is the distance and the market prices. As you hear today, we are supplying material from Potiskum. There is no laterite in this area. And you know the diesel is becoming today 700, 800 naira.
The managing director of Firma expresses satisfaction with the progress of work, but urged the contractor to ensure they deliver the project at the stipulated time.
And the quality of the works in terms of how it stands now, even though, some of the sections were completed almost a year ago, and they are looking good. So we can comfortably say that the project is achieving its objectives of having the section completed in 36 months.
The team who visited the Bade Emirate were told by the Emir, Abubakar Umar Suleiman, that it's over 30 years the people of the area had been appealing for the construction of the road.
It's over now 30 years we have been looking for this road. God, in His infinite mercy, through the Senate President and federal government, made it possible this year to have this road. And the road has been fantastic. The work is excellent.
No doubt, the benefiting communities will be optimistic about the road construction, which has reached 70% completion. It's expected the project will open up economic activities as well as attract investors to the rich cultural heritage of Maui Ganga Fishing Festival when it's ready for use.
And now to the arts. Dialogue, an artist's reflections in color, is a solo exhibition by Akachukwu Chukwuemeka at the Thought Pyramid Art Center. The artist's works of art talk about the essence of preserving the African culture. We'll see it on Art Review tonight.
The works of art displayed in Dialogue, a solo exhibition by Akachukwu Chukwuemeka, shows his new style and technique, a collection of his reflections over the years.
It's like my personal reflections. It's like my notes, my diary notes. So I try to bring it out for people to look at it in colors. That's why you say dialogue, artist's personal reflections in colors.
About 20 paintings contain different stories the artist is fascinated about. He carefully captures them on each tie and dyed canvas, and they are connected as well.
Each one is a complete story, short story, but at the same time, each one is linked to the other one. You know, it's like the story of the society, where an individual story does not make the story of the society. You have to collectively bring everybody's story and put them together to make a complete story. So that's what we're doing here. And each piece of work is like a short story linked to another story, which makes a complete story. So I try to capture my personal reflection about the society, about me, my experiences, and other people's experiences.
This collection has over 800 of these pieces. He's been working on it since 2013. That's over 8 years now. And it's just basically his perspective of observing the sky. So he's using crowd formations to kind of tell a story of things that he's experiencing currently in society from his background. So it's like a personal journal for him. This is like a diary. He's illustrating things that he has experienced from religious background as well as friendships down to the very society that we live in. So each of these pieces tells a story about that.
He takes time to explain some of the exhibits. The message that lies within has a lot to do with African literature.
If you look at the one titled Grief, the one right here, Grief, it shows what people pass through, you know. When you lose someone, it's called that sometimes you cannot say how you react when you lose someone. When they tell you, oh, this person is dead, you may not expect, you may not even know how you react. It's people around who are the people that can tell you, look at how you react. Some even may want to jump into the river. Some will want to jump into the grave. They will lose control of everything. So I try to capture, having experienced loss of loved ones, I try to have an introspection. Grief, what does it mean? How does it come out? How do you conquer grief? So I can put it into creativity.
This need to give a visual appeal to interesting African tales through amazing art is part of the artist's Forms for My Sky series, which is painting the continent with color.
Away from domestic stories now, on the foreign scene, Ukraine, Russia and even the United States all have complicating factors and make settling the current invasion difficult to resolve quickly. The views of a former president of the American Center for International Leadership, Stephen Hayes. He told Channel Television's Ladi Akredole on our current affairs program, Newsnight, that the current internal dynamics of all three countries require synthesis and some measure of face-saving to bring about a peaceful end.
To me, there has to be a face-saving measure for Putin. As much as I don't like that personally, I think that it needs to happen. There needs to be a way for him to step back. I'm not sure that in his own country and with his countrymen around him now, he can afford to step back, though, and that's the problem that I see. If he is seen as stepping back and losing, then his personal position, probably his personal health, is in considerable danger as well. So there must be some measure of face saving. I think Zelensky asking, I guess yesterday, for the fighting to stop was a very positive step. whether you can get Putin to withdraw. I would anticipate him trying to hold on to the gains that he's made so far, if there is to be any withdrawal. And that's not going to be satisfactory to the Ukrainians because they've lost some territory in that regard. And also, so a key city has been just destroyed in Mariupol. Yes, he's walking a very tightrope here in the United States. And I think also one of the issues that's going to be determining midterm is how many people really get to the polls, and the voting restrictions that states are putting in is going to make it very difficult and perhaps misleading on the amount of public support that Biden will get. We'll see, but his poll numbers are going up. How long the United States public will tolerate rising gas prices, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, I'm going to the gas pump at least once or twice a week myself, and then watching the prices go up.
You can watch the full interview with Mr. Hayes. It airs tomorrow, Monday, March 28th at 9 p.m. right here on Channels Television. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says as part of a peace deal with Russia, his country is prepared to discuss adopting a neutral status, but it would have to be guaranteed by third parties and put to a referendum. He said this during an interview with independent Russian media Now. He also says that Russia's invasion has caused the destruction of Russian-speaking cities in Ukraine. It comes a day ahead of the start of the next round of face-to-face negotiations between Ukraine and Russia in Turkey. Sports is now a wrap at the 26th Nuga Games, and the University of Port Harcourt are champions for the fourth consecutive time. During the closing ceremony of the Games held at the University of Lagos Sports Centre, the host Unilag has now passed on the baton to the University of Jos, which will host the Games in 2024.
The University of Lagos Sports Centre comes alive again. This time, it's the closing ceremony to draw the curtain on the 26th Nuga Games, hosted by the institution in what has been an interesting 10 days of sporting action.
We made a promise when I was appointed last year. The mandate was very, very clear from the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos. They wanted us to organize a Nuga Games to remember. And everybody on the LOC brought their A games. The host community was ready, and they've shown that they are loving people. They've been very accommodating. All the apparatus of states for security, for tourism, particularly the Lagos State government, have also come through for us.
We want the next host know that there is nothing impossible. Despite the little resources that are available, you can still turn around in such a way that you can bring water from the rock.
The chants are particularly loud for this school. I'm sure most of us know why.
One institution, however, is returning home with the bragging right of being crowned champion, the University of Port Harcourt. The River State-based university won the games with 61 gold, 29 silver and 30 bronze medals, with host Unilag and Nile University finishing in second and third.
Shoe, get size. Uniport get quality. Ho, shoe, get size. Uniport get quality.
And for the first time in the history of the Nuga Games, Uniport goes home with a big prize, a trophy for the overall best university.
University of Port Harcourt, congratulations.
With the games over in Lagos, Unilag passes the baton to Unijos, host for the 2024 Nuga Games.
Yes, I'm a king. Yes, I'm a king.
And the main news again. The River State Governor Nyesom Wike today joined the list of presidential aspirants after declaring to run for the office of the president. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Obani. Good night.